This is KGW News at Sunrise.
This man's name was not Donald J. Trump. There is no scenario we'd all be here today.
The former president's legal team on the defense after learning the 34 charges filed against Donald Trump in New York. What he had to say to supporters last night and what comes next. Plus,
they found a judge in a particular county that was going to be sympathetic to their lawsuit.
A new gun control bill, very similar to Measure 114, is moving forward in the Oregon legislature. We're going to hear more from a local law professor who explains how the bill aims to challenge the resistance to gun reform in Eastern Oregon.
And all week, I've been sharing tips about how to help you land the job that you love. Today, talking about that resume, what you should put on there, and what you should keep off. That's coming up in about 15 minutes.
Okay, lots of important stuff, interesting stuff to get to this Wednesday morning. We are midweek. We've made it almost-ish. Closer to Friday. Anyway, we're glad you're here. It's been so chilly out. I was driving in and I was like, of course, I'm wearing my puffy jacket still, and it's spring.
Yeah, normal high this time of the year, 60. We're not going to get there today either.
Of course
we
not.
haven't been there in a while. We're not going to get there today. It's going to be a stretch to get there in the 7-day forecast. But you know what's kind of cool? It's not raining. It's not snowing out there. We got a live look at the nearly full moon from Cannon Beach. So the fact that we can see it is a sign of a decent morning. It's not wet, right? It's not drippy out there. It's 42 last check at PDX. The plan for today, again, a dry start to the day. I want to point out, though, that there is some rain offshore. That is our next weather maker, and very slowly that will creep eastward as we go through the day. So sun and broken cloud cover throughout the first half of the day with an increasing chance of light rain late this afternoon. Ladies, we top out in the lower 50s.
Chris, thank you.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it.
After pleading not guilty to 34 felony charges in New York, former President Donald Trump spoke to supporters in Florida last night. All of the charges he faces are related to alleged hush money payments made before the 2016 election.
The former president is accused of falsifying business records, and each charge carries a maximum of 4 years in prison. NBC's Bree Jackson is on Capitol Hill with what happens next.
Following his unprecedented arraignment, former President Trump addressed supporters at his Mar-a-Lago estate, combative and downplaying the criminal charges against him.
Everybody said this is not really an indictment. There's nothing here.
He also railed against prosecutors.
The criminal is the district attorney.
The Manhattan DA's office hit Mr. Trump with 34 felony charges related to hush money payments surrounding the 2016 election.
To make these payments, they set up shell companies, and they made yet more false statements.
Prosecutors laid out a broader picture during Tuesday's arraignment and what they called an unlawful plan to suppress negative information that could have affected Mr. Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Trump pleaded not guilty, and his legal team claimed their client is the victim.
While everyone is not above the law, no one's below it either. And if this man's name was not Donald J. Trump, there is no scenario we'd all be here.
Protesters from both sides gathered outside the courthouse.
I'm more standing for democracy than against Trump.
This is a frame-up job.
Tuesday's criminal charges stem from just one legal matter. Trump could face more legal trouble from investigations into the storage of classified documents at his home, efforts to overturn 2020 presidential election results, and his role in the January 6th attack. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Later this morning, the Today Show will sit down with one of former President Trump's attorneys in the wake of their not guilty plea. The former president adamantly claims that there is no case here. We're going to hear what his lawyer has to say after learning about the charges. Again, that's coming up this morning on the Today Show right after sunrise.
A Portland woman will serve 3 years probation and 200 hours of community service for her role in the January 6th Capitol riots. A federal judge handed down that sentence yesterday. Lilith Sayer admitted she walked into the Capitol and stayed for about 6 minutes. She apologized to the judge, saying she regretted her actions. But the judge noted that up until last month, Sayer had been retweeting false conspiracies about January 6th. She was recently fired from her job, which is why the judge waived all fines and home detention, but then upped her community service hours. Sayer was a remote software engineer making close to $200,000 a year. She is the 9th person from Oregon or Southwest Washington to be charged in connection with the insurrection.
Washington Governor Jay Inslee is touting what he calls a major step to protect abortion rights. He says the state bought 3 years worth of the abortion pill mifepristone. Then the University of Washington added an extra year's worth to the state stockpile. It's all in response to a Texas lawsuit that's trying to revoke the pill's FDA approval. It's used in combination with another drug to end an early pregnancy.
A new gun control bill is moving forward in the Oregon legislature. It's very similar to Measure 114, which we know voters narrowly passed back in November, but Measure 114 remains stuck in court in Harney County. KGW's Alma McCarty has more details on the new bill that seems deliberately designed to limit the number of gun control legal challenges.
In a work session in Salem Tuesday.
Senator Gelser-Bluen. Aye. Senator Lubinko.
No.
Senator Manning.
Votes aye.
Vice Chair Thatcher.
No.
Chair Przonski.
Przonski votes aye.
Lawmakers passed a gun control bill out of committee, 3-2.
Motion carries. The bill is on its way as amended.
Senate Bill 348 mirrors and expands on Measure 114, raising the age to purchase a firearm, banning high-capacity magazines, and establishing a permit-to-purchase system. But it includes changes to make that system more feasible, according to Norman Williams, a law professor at Willamette University.
By delaying the effective date for the bill until such time that the state police can stand up the permitting requirement and the training programs that gun purchasers will require.
There's another provision added late last week, limiting any state legal challenges to Marion County Circuit Court.
Marion County judges have a great deal of experience with hearing lawsuits that challenge state action.
Williams says this isn't unusual.
The bill sponsors obviously believe that the gun rights supporters who brought the Harney County litigation had engaged in forum shopping, that they found a judge in a particular county that was going to be sympathetic to their lawsuit. I do think, though, that the selection of Marion County makes perfect sense precisely because it is the state capital.
While it would not affect the ongoing Second Amendment challenge in federal court, Williams explains the bill's passage would impact what's happening in eastern Oregon.
Technically repeals Measure 114, thereby mooting the Harney County case. Therefore, a renewed challenge to this measure under the Oregon Constitution's right to bear arms provision would have to be brought in Marion County. And so the Harney County litigation, if this bill passes, is basically at an end.
Regardless, Williams says the highest court in the state will have the final word.
At the end of the day, again, it's going to be the Oregon Supreme Court that decides this, whether the appeal comes from the Harney County Court or from a Marion County Court.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
One more note to this story. Even with this amendment, the local law professor we just heard from there says he still expects there to be legal challenges. He also says the most likely challenges will focus on the increased waiting period for gun transfers and the higher permit fee.
When you were selling sneakers out of the back of your Plymouth, that was risky. Don't change that now.
For a rookie?
Yes.
Who's never set foot on an NBA court.
That's the literal definition of rookie, yeah.
Air is playing in select theaters starting today. It's based on the true story of the historic Nike deal with Michael Jordan that brought us Air Jordans. So far, most of the reviews say it's worth your time. Rotten Tomatoes rated it 99% fresh. Wow. So Ben Affleck directs and stars as Nike co-founder Phil Knight. Matt Damon plays former Nike executive Sonny Vaccaro. And Viola Davis plays MJ's mom. And listen to this. Affleck has been saying that MJ himself actually suggested that Viola Davis play his mother. Love it. So this is the first time, by the way, that Amazon Studios is having an exclusive theatrical release before streaming it on Prime. Go see Air.
No, I don't know if excited's the right word, but I want to see the movie.
I'm interested. Yeah.
I always like to watch a movie about a story I already kind of know about, and then after the movie's over, then look up to see how much of this was like, actually factually correct. Did they do anything in Hollywood to make the movie a little bit more movie-like?
If we're streaming it at home, I fact check it in real time.
In real time. Of course you do. I feel like that's a Brenda thing.
That takes some of the fun to
Can't help myself.
Well, that's the newsy in you.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
All right, well, fact check this. We have had rain every day in the month of April.
It's only been 4 days, but still. I would like some more sunshine.
I can remember that. Actually, I think a lot of us have had hail showers almost every day in April.
True.
That we're not going to have today. We are off to a dry start. Let's take you live to our Stoller Vineyard camera. What are we looking at? A bunch of evergreen trees here that are kind of blocking the view of the full moon there. Almost full moon, but I thought that was kind of cool. All right, we'll switch gears. We'll give you the look from our Wells Fargo sky camera. It's dark, it's early, it's 42 out there right now. And it is dry. 37 right now, Hillsborough, Forest Grove, 33. Big perspective across the region. Kelso, Longview in the upper 30s. The North Oregon coast down near the freezing mark. And east of the Cascades, it's cold. Baker City and Burns right now sitting at 16. As we mentioned, dry this morning. Rain offshore. That rain will slowly creep inland during the day today. The coast gets wet first. It's going to be a slow progress to this next weather maker. The rain at the coast will be kind of on and off at first. Let me roll the clock towards 5 o'clock. So again, we're getting into the afternoon commute time here. Futurecast shows rain moving into the valley, but again, this will be occasional and light at first. Rain, though, picks up overnight, and then as I fast forward into tomorrow, Thursday looks like a breezy and wet day. Thursday certainly the wettest day of the next several here across northwest Oregon and southwest Washington. Cloudy, occasional light rain at the coast today. The rain intensifies tonight. In the gorge, partly sunny. The chance of PM rain is, we're talking late in the day here. In fact, the East Gorge may not see any rain until tonight. And east of the Cascades, central and eastern Oregon, chilly starts over towards Bend and Prineville. Same story out towards Burns as we showed you. You're waking up to temperatures in the teens. But sunshine for you. That feels nice, right? Up and down the I-5 corridor, I don't know that we're going to see much in the way of sunshine. Maybe a few early peaks today, but the clouds build in and the temperatures don't go very far. We're topping out around 51 degrees or so here in Portland with that increasing chance of rain. Thursday is a rainy and breezy day. Could pick up a half an inch of rain tomorrow. Rain likely begins to taper off early on Friday, giving us a chance to finish our work week Friday afternoon with some early sun. Weekend forecast, Easter weekend. Somewhere in here we're going to get wet, guys, and I'm thinking right now it's late Saturday into at least the first half of Sunday, and the temperatures only in the upper 50s to about 60.